Hey, welcome to the Uncommon Life podcast, the show where Lewis, Rich, and myself delve into topics that are helping us build towards being in the best shape and health of our lives. It's fair to say that we're quite far into that journey. That said, we're changing our minds on various topics as we learn more about ourselves. And there's also some things that we each find uniquely challenging. Our hope is that you can relate to some of our journeys and challenges, and that you find it inspiring and useful as you build towards being in the best shape and health of your life. So, slightly different episode this week. Our first 6 episodes have been focused around specific topics. And this week, we thought we'd experiment with a bit of a random, free-for-all chat about what's on our minds at the moment. We ended up covering loads of cool stuff. As always, focus around training, nutrition, and leading a healthy, disciplined lifestyle. If you like this style of episode, or actually, even if you didn't, please let us know. Any type of feedback is super useful to us. And don't forget, you can support the show by leaving a review wherever you listen to this. And if you want to get notified when new episodes are out, just follow or subscribe to our channel. Okay, let's jump into episode 7.
I got my Daniel cut today.
I like it. Looking
Yeah,
smooth.
I did mine yesterday as well.
I need to get down the barber.
Tim Ferriss hot.
Mine's offensive.
Got my summer cut.
Cool.
You guys watching World Cup?
Yeah.
Rugby World Cup.
Rugby? No,
Have no interest in rugby whatsoever.
me neither.
Fair enough.
Terribly boring.
Fair enough. What?
So
I judge you both
hey, so we you can do so like it's like a small intro. We'll just do a bit of a random show today. Yeah, like the first 6 episodes have been kind of topic based, but yeah, it'd be cool just to kind of shoot the shit a little bit and be a bit random about it. I've got a few little topics on my mind. Just have a bit of an old chat.
Sounds good.
It's good.
There's one thing I was going to share as well,
Go on.
which has been pretty good. But I'm keen for you to dive in first and just let's set the scene then.
So actually, like, one topic that's been on my mind a lot lately is I can't work out what is going on. There's me on a cup for like
in general, in life.
Yeah, well, no. It's a fairly specific thing. There's me on a cut for about a year, and the last 3 months, like, super strict, 1900, a load of activity, and I'm busting my balls to get down to like 75 kilograms, which you guys know I did. Like, I shifted like 5 or 6 kilograms, something like that. I think I started at 82, got to 75. It was hard. I felt frail, like, a bit fragile. And then I'm like, enough of that, because I even, like, caught that virus and couldn't recover from it. I was like, I'm going to shift towards maintenance. So I've spent the last 4 to 6 weeks on mostly 2200 calories, less activity. I pulled my zone 2 back. I've gone back to kind of like strength training. So, like, the intensity, there's not a lot of like high interval stuff or anything like that. And actually in the last week, I've been on 2400 calories, and I weighed myself this morning and I'm 74.8 kilograms. What's going on with that? How am I lighter from 6 weeks of less activity and more calories? I feel loads better and I look better, but like, I'm lighter. Like, it's not making sense.
That's debatable.
You do look great.
Yeah, I agree.
We both go
No,
such
my
opposite extreme. I'm all about the positive. What about the positive?
I'll go with sarcasm. I reckon yours was all out of sarcasm.
But it is weird. Like, I definitely, from going to like 2200 and then even in the last week or so 2400, I feel better in myself. Like, I have more energy. Like, my physique looks a bit fuller. Like, I don't look as frail and skinny as I was when I was 75 kilograms like 6 weeks ago. And actually in the last 1 or 2 weeks, since kind of like pushing it a bit higher than 22, I've started to like feel stronger in the sessions. So I'm like adding some strength in my sessions. Yeah. Like, and I'm not that fussed. It's just super weird that it took like such a massive effort to get down to 75 and hold it. And now I've just like released the pressure valve, doing less, eating more. And my body just seems to be like more efficient and just happier to sit there. I can't quite work out what's going on.
You also needed those calories, man. Your body needed the calories. You were just too low.
Why do you reckon that is?
Why do you reckon what my body needs the calories?
No, why do you reckon?
Why do you reckon that just the whole thing
Yeah,
is
why do you
happening?
reckon it's all happened that way?
Like the only thing I can really think of is that at the peak of my cut and at 75 kilograms, I think I was probably in too deep a calorie restriction.
Hmm.
Like even though I'd estimated it was about 500, and the data over 12 weeks tells me that I was probably on about 500 because I lost half a kilogram per week. I've just got a feeling I was doing too much and cutting too deep, and I was
Hmm.
just like too long in that journey. And all I can think is that my metabolism had just like stalled and just
Yeah.
wasn't running properly. And now that I've just loosened everything up and I'm doing a more appropriate amount of activity, it was still quite a lot, but not as intense and not as much volume on the cardio. And now that my calories come up, maybe like this is just the more efficient place for my metabolism. And actually, 2400 or something is just a nice place for it to maintain itself. Where I don't know, like I think probably something to do with the fact that my metabolism has just like thanked me for not beating it for like a
The human
year
body,
non-stop.
the human body is a pretty fascinating machine, right? It's because I've read a lot of what you saying that made me think of a guy called Lyle McDonald. Have you heard of
Yeah, I
Lyle
remember him
McDonald?
back from the day. He was the kind of
Yeah,
like keto guy, wasn't he?
he was the keto guy years ago. He was originally remembered for that, and then he did a
Bacon
whole
and
bunch of
eggs
other
and yeah.
he did a whole bunch of other diets as well. Though one diet that I did of his, which is called the Ultimate Diet, and he talks a huge amount about how the body doesn't want to shed fat, and it will do everything it possibly can to keep body fat because that's its survival mechanism. It's like the survival, and even after I think 3 days of calorie restriction, your I don't even remember all the terms. I just know what needs to be done. Like I think your leptin levels or whatever it is, or ghrelin levels or something reduced by like 50% just after
Right.
3 days, which means your metabolism actually massively slows down because it's your body's way of actually saying, okay, I'm in a starvation situation right now. I need to try and like preserve as much energy as I possibly can. So I just think from, not being a nutritionist or anything at all, just having done it a bit, I think you'd been doing it for too long, and your body had just like
Yeah,
your
that's the biggest
metabolism
thing I
had
think. Yeah.
Yep.
massively like just come down to like 1700 calories was your maintenance level at the end. You just reduced it and reduced it, and now going back up to that, you've just sorted it all out hormonally. Because the thing he spoke about, like in the ultimate diet, it's a ridiculous diet. It's a you do a it's a 4.5 day super strict calorie restriction where you do 50% of your daily calories. So for 4.5 days, you
You're
do
really
like
grumpy.
1100 calories. Yeah. And it's pretty much protein. So it's a protein sparring, like modified fast where you're just having protein and you just maintain enough carbohydrates, so 50 grams of carbohydrates a day, just to maintain your hormone levels, not to massive. But then on day like 4.5, you then do a ridiculous carb load, and you jump up to do. You have something like 400 grams of carbs over the next 2 days to bring your hormone levels up again, and then you
Mm.
do that non-stop until you kind of lose your body fat. It is the most insane diet. I've actually, and I did it, and it has results because you basically lose the fat, and then you bring your hormone levels up again. You bring your maintenance level, and then you trim up again. And then he does a whole bunch of depletion workouts in it as well, which are horrible. So you end up doing like 20 reps of like leg press, bench press, overhead, every single body part to try and deplete as much glycogen as possible. And you do that on the Monday morning. So you deplete all your glycogen, you then do the 50% calorie. It's so scientific. It's insane. But yeah, it made me think of that, you saying that.
Yeah. I mean like it's just interesting that
Mm,
I'm able to effortlessly maintain 75 on 2400, yet it felt like an absolute mission week
mm,
in, week out, where I could only just hang on to it to do it like a few months ago. But I think it just goes to show that like 2400 is probably more naturally where my body wants to hold its weight. So I'm just going to stick with it, see how I've only just gone up from 2200 to 2400. So I did like 4 to 5 weeks of 2200. and my weight didn't shift. And then I've done a week of 2,400, which I suspect is probably more my maintenance slight surplus. And I'm going to do that for a minimum of 6 weeks, but at least 6 to 8 weeks, and just monitor from there. But yeah, I was really expecting my weight just to bounce back up pretty quickly. But the fact that it's just holding on to what it is, and I look better, and I'm getting stronger, is unexpected. But yeah, I'm putting it pretty much.
You must have just put yourself in starvation.
My metabolism was haywire. Yeah, I think it was haywire before. And what Lewis said, it was too long. I think generally speaking, if you're in a surplus for 9 to 10 months of the year, and then strategically around holidays or summer holidays when the sun's out, you do these kind of like 6 to 8 weeks kind of like cuts. That's probably like the right balance where, Rich, me and you know that we were basically doing this shit for like a year. And I think the body was just like properly tired of it.
I think you were more extreme though, right? Like, I'm just kind of thinking that through. I think, there's an element of starvation. I mean, when you're saying there you're down by like 500, as a percentage of your maintenance, if your maintenance is realistically, I say 2,400, I don't know, you'll figure that out soon. Yeah. And you were down at like 1,800. So as a percentage, you're 25% below what your body needs. It's pretty extreme. So your body would probably want to have gone into starvation mode and gone, shit, hang on. Like, what are you doing here? So your metabolism is going to get fucked over a period of time, right? And yeah. I mean, look, I did something kind of similar, but
supported that.
What did you do, Rich?
Well, I didn't go as crazy as Daniel. Like, I can't go that low. Like, I definitely felt if I was to drop below, let's say 2,000 a day, like, I have no energy. Like, the thought of going hitting the gym at that is, for me, is problematic. So I have never gone. I think maybe I've done it for like a week or so, but I couldn't sustain that for very long. So, and I think also, like you guys, I kind of almost need carbs. Like, I definitely feel that when my carbs drop below, let's say 100 grams a day, like, I'm just a grumpy asshole. Like, don't come near me. Like, it's just, I mean, it's just not a place I like live in.
I think that's mindset.
No, like, it's like, well, maybe, but it's fine. If it's all in my head, it can stay in my head. I tell you right now, I'm a happier person with a little bit of carbs. They can be good quality carbs.
Yeah, I think everyone would say that.
If like
eating sweet potatoes, and
I'm just happy having a bit of carbs, and I'm better in the gym, and I perform better, and I'm just happier with it. And so I don't think I've ever gone. I mean, Daniel, I'm wrong here, but I think you sat around 1,800 for quite a long period of time, like multiple months.
1,900. I was 1,900 for 12 weeks.
Yeah. Which, I mean, if that is less than 20% below your actual maintenance, which is kind of significant. Like, I think I've kind of sat around that maybe for like 3 or 4 weeks. But I think if I averaged it over a 12-week period, I'd probably be kind of maybe 10 or 15% below, I think.
There is like a real important part around having diet breaks. So it's 3 weeks on, 1 week off, 3 weeks on, 1 week off to try and balance it. So the ultimate diet that I was talking about, so he did one that was on a weekly routine, and then he did one that was on a 2-week routine as well, where you do 10 days of lower calories. It wasn't quite as extreme like the 50%, and then 4 days of carb loading and higher calories to bring your metabolism back up again. And then you do that. So it's like a 2-week cycle. And I did that a bit. That seemed to work pretty well as well, actually. That was a good one.
How did you fit that in with life? Because I don't know. I feel really like, I don't know. I know some people probably think we're a bit extreme in general, but I like having my like daily routine. It kind of feels right, and then kind of over the weekly average. But like that extreme kind of, I don't know. How did you cope with that? I think I'd struggle.
So I think I did it because I did it twice. So I did the ultimate one, which was like the 4.5 day one. So I did that for about 4 weeks, if I remember rightly. But I really didn't like the extremes. So going from being 50% of calories and having 1,100 calories a day, and then the weekend of 2,500, 3,000 calories with a whole bunch of cereal, I just felt awful. I didn't feel good on it because it was just the swings were too much. So that was tricky. It was more, but actually when I did the 2-week one, it was easy to fit in. So the calorie wasn't as restrictive. It was still pretty bad. I think it was like 1,400 calories a day for 10 days. It was the weekend on the first week was difficult because it's Saturday and Sunday, but then I just basically used fasting. And And then the second weekend was great because it was like loads of pizza and fun and other bits. So it was kind of quite social. So I kind of tried to time it around beers and other bits. So I only did it for, how long did I do it for? I think I did it for 6 weeks. I have to check. But I've tried everything. So I have tried pretty much everything. But it wasn't too bad to fit it in. Once you put your mind,
if you've tried everything,
I'm going to do it.
What's your one now, right? So if let's say let's use Daniel's as our case study. But Daniel's like, right, cool.
Yeah.
I want to go and get some strength on. Like, what if you're in that situation? You're like, you know what? I want to go and put on 5% body mass or whatever else. What would you do? What's your diet choice? Well, you haven't found it yet.
No, I'm just trying to think because what if I wanted to gain? See, I've never really done a mass gain program where I've just wanted to. I've never done like a 500 plus calorie surplus for more than 3 months. I just wouldn't do that. So what would I do? I'd just eat more protein. And I think I talked this. I kind of mentioned it to Daniel. I was like, I don't think you need to go if you want to gain muscle. It's actually a really slow process. It's years and just consistency. It's not I'm going to do a 3-week, like a 3-month bulk. It's like you can't gain that much muscle in 3 months. You will gain a whole load of fat.
And once it come back, so Daniel used to, because back in his kind of his earlier days, used to carry a lot more muscle mass. So is there a view there that actually he'll be able to gain some of that back suit far? At least the view I would have, like from him having older muscle memory effectively, is that if in the right environment, he should be able to gain that muscle back / increase the tissue, as in put more back into that tissue faster than building brand new muscle. I don't know. Would you say? Would you have the same view or a different view? Does that make sense? What I'm saying? Daniel.
Yeah, I don't think.
I'm using Daniel's like he's currently on guinea pig. I'm using him as
you know what? I don't really care too much. Like in terms of that, I just try not to overthink it. I agree with you, Lewis, that like I think all of these extreme diets, they just interest me less now. I just want a diet that I can stick to that fits in with my life, and it's pretty straightforward, right? My diet at the moment is one, I'm trying to get my maintenance, which I think is I'm working towards, and I think is probably around 23, 24. It's going to be interesting to see what the next 6 to 8 weeks of 24 does for me. If it tips me up just a little bit, then I'll stick with that as a small surplus. But I just want to be on a small surplus for a couple of years, and I just want to be weight training, and we'll see how it goes. And in terms of the diet, it's nothing too crazy. It's just like prioritize protein, and then the rest can come from carbs and fat, and just be consistent with it and make sure it's 80% whole foods. And then that's it. And just keep doing it for like a long time. But the one thing that has been on my mind a lot, which is another kind of sort of interesting topic to debate as well, is how much, I'm like 45 later this year. And it's like, realistically, how much muscle can you put on in your 40s? Because if I was in my 20s and my 30s and I was operating like I am now, man, I would be a monster. Because you're in your prime muscle. No, but like if I actually had the level of discipline and knowledge I have now, and I could go back to being 25, like anybody would be a monster if you just kept feeding yourself and training yourself like that. Unfortunately, I've found the discipline and I'm educated, and I happen to be, and I've got myself into a lean shape at the age of nearly 45. And now it's like I'm trying to kind of like build muscle in the latter half of my 40s, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens, because I think Peter Attia says this a lot, is that from your 40s it's operation maintain muscle, don't lose it, rather than being able to gain it. And I don't know whether I'll be able to tap into some kind of like muscle memory from 10 or 20 years ago, or whether actually with the right level of discipline you can build small amounts of muscle and it just takes longer. Or like me and Rich have debated a little bit, and I think we've all debated a little bit, who knows, in 1 or 2 years, if I find myself just like not getting where I need to get, then testosterone therapy could be an interesting
it was going to be really important.
So I don't know, like
I'm not sure what you debated. I'm sure it's very good.
So we'll see, but I'm gonna give it 12 to 18 months, see how it goes.
Dave, you cut out for the last like 15 seconds. We've got no idea what words of wisdom you're sharing with us.
Was like, the debating thing was, if in your 40s and 50s it truly is hard to build muscle, then TRT type of approach, like testosterone replacement therapy is interesting, right? Because a lot of people go towards that to kind of just feel better in their 40s and 50s. But the reality is a lot of people go towards it to kind of help build muscle at a point in their life where it's actually the odds are against them. Not that I'm anywhere near exploring that now, but like I just want to see what the next 1 or 2 years of good, solid training brings me. Because I know that it worked. Like I was able to get into a lean shape in the last 6 months versus the last 15 years. I've never been able to achieve it with my approach. So we'll see what happens with a different goal.
I think you 100% can still make muscle and gain muscle. 100% in your 40s, 50s, 60s. And it's like there's loads of scientific studies to show that you can. The rate at which you can do it will just be slower. And
yeah, I think I probably believe that.
It's just slower than you would be in your 20s because your testosterone levels are low, but you 100% can. But it's I love what you've said, by the way, Daniel, and I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's around that consistency. It's about prioritizing protein, making good food choices, and just being really consistent with it and not trying to do a crazy bulk of whatever for like a certain amount of time, because that just doesn't work. But it did make me think. So you saying that is about our mate that we've had a bit of banter about. I forget what his name is. The guy who's Blueprint guy, who's
Bryan
reverse
Johnson.
Bryan Johnson. That
Your
guy,
mate.
fascinating. I think he's brilliant. I absolutely love like what he's putting out there. I think it's just so good. I know it's like really like for a number of reasons. I think when you look at his stats around what he's achieving, I think he's 45 and he's got a VO2 max of like an elite 18-year-old. He's got muscle. Like you look at the guy, he's shredded. Like his sleep score's insane. I don't really get a perfect sleep score, and it's all around.
It is the same.
Diet, sleep, consistency. It's if you have all those habits in place and you're doing all the right stuff, the body is an amazing machine. It will respond. I think more often than not, though, we don't treat ourselves as well as we should. Like I did yesterday evening, having like 6 pints and like 5 hours sleep.
But wasn't it fun?
That's not optimal.
Wasn't it fun?
It was.
So
feeling it today.
Like there's an awful lot of data to support that actually happy people live a lot longer than unhappy people. So we've got to have a bit of fun now as well, right?
Definitely.
Look,
Bryan
I think we should disagree on your viewpoint on Johnson. Like,
You're not a fan of Bryan Johnson?
No, not in the slightest. And I personally, when I see him, I don't see a healthy person. I don't care what the stats say. Don't care about all that data, those data points. I don't see a world where you can take 100 pills a day and think that is how you live a healthy life. I'm sorry, that's not me, and that's not a future I want to live in. If that is the future we're heading towards, that is not a future I want to live in. Like that's just not my bag. So I will respectfully disagree with the viewpoint on Bryan Johnson.
I find the guy fascinating. I would say I think the reason why he's fascinating.
I see him being an interesting project. I see that.
And I just like what he's trying. I like the mindset that he's trying to communicate, though. Of it's not inevitable that we're going to die, or it's like I think we will.
It is inevitable we're going to die. But it's around
how do you prolong it as much as possible, and how far could we take the human species? I think what he's trying to do. I think the pill thing, though, it's because he's doing it on a plant-based diet. He's not having any meat. I think if he was doing it with more meat and animal product, I think that would probably reduce the amount of. He's taking a lot of, I think it's like creatine and other supplements like your amino acids and other bits and pieces. But yeah, interesting one.
It is interesting in the like to see what like extreme levels of dedication can do. And like you said, Lewis, like he's gone through all of his stats and they're insane. They're in the top 0.1% of what a human can achieve. So it's super interesting kind of to watch. And I agree with you, like if you can have the right habits and the right discipline and you do the right things, I think like you're right. Like in our 40s and 50s, we could probably be blown away by the progress we could make. I've been blown away in the last year of what I've been able to do with with a fraction of the dedication that like a Bryan Johnson applies to it. The one thing about Bryan Johnson is that again his life looks like a sad one. It just doesn't look nice. And the other thing to remember as well is he's putting it on a pedestal because he's creating a business. He's creating a supplement business. And so I'm in two minds about him. One, I think it's a really, really interesting experiment. And you're right, it should give people inspiration that if you do the right things, you can achieve what it seems like impossible, like an impossibility. But he's also an incredibly smart marketing man, because he knows what he's doing is on the edges of being super controversial, and he's creating a blueprint product which will become a massive business for him.
Something just changing the
skeptic,
pivoting,
Daniel, such a skeptic.
pivoting slightly.
He's launching it next month. Yeah, he's been pretty open about it.
Lots of people want to be on it as
He's
well.
condensed his 100 pills into a 20 pill business.
Oh, 30-day plan.
Oh, that's clever. I didn't see that. That's clever.
I don't know.
Clever.
I think it's the thing with health and fitness, isn't it? We go in like waves of this kind of people kind of finding ways to exploit others and paths forward. But I don't know. For me personally, and I know there's the whole make life longer and whatever else. I think there's a lot of good in the statement, and I think there's a lot of good in medicines and whatever else. But I think there is just a reality of being a living being. Our cells have a certain period of time they can live. We should just, for me personally, I get more acceptance of knowing I only have this kind of amount of time, so I'm going to make the most of it, and then I'm out of here. Like, I kind of get more acceptance around that, and I'm happier about it than thinking that I want to be around when I'm 100. Because frankly, I don't. Like, when I look around at anyone who's over the age of kind of 85, 90, even the fittest ones, they are dealing with stuff which I just don't want to have to deal with. So for me personally, I'd rather just live a really happy, healthy life as much as I can do for what is the right lifespan for kind of, a good, healthy human, and then be that was my period, I'm out of here, versus kind of try and prolong it in a way which just doesn't feel natural to me. And so kind of it's just kind of where I sit on that scale. But it's the same thing if, let's go and live on Mars. No thanks. That is not in my remit of where I want to spend my time.
What's the saying for it? What does he say? We've got to be humans? We've got to be like planetary. What is it he says?
Multi-planetary species.
Yeah, that's it. Multi-planet species. Yeah. Clever.
Which, hey, look, so that's why you have people like that out there, right? And then they are the people that probably in 1,000 years will look back on where they were. That's just obviously not who I am. So that's okay. I don't mind that.
I was going to share something that I've done recently, which has been brilliant.
Go on, knowing you, it's like 3 Murphs back to back. Go on.
No. I bought something that has really helped simplify trying to eat healthily. So I wanted to share this as something that was, air fryer. So I got the, I don't know if you guys have both got an air fryer as well, but it was
I don't have an air fryer, but everyone keeps talking about it.
I had one, but it wasn't that big. So I couldn't cook enough meat in it. So I couldn't cook enough. So I then looked into like one of the bigger ones, and my sister has one. So she has the Ninja XL. No affiliate here. Like no sponsorship.
You don't have like a code.
But if they,
put the link in.
People that
put his affiliate link in the show notes.
But if anyone wants to send me free Ninja stuff, go for it.
UK and put Lewis code in, you'll get 10% off.
So I got it, and it has been so good. My sister, bless her, she has one, and I was like, "Is it any good then?" And she sent me a little video, and she's like, "Okay, so this is how big it is." And she like measured it for me, and she was like, "You can probably put like 6 burgers in there. You can do this." And it's like got a meat thermometer, a meat temperature thermometer in it, and it was like, so it cooks your steaks perfectly. And it has been so helpful for me for the last 2 weeks, because I have gone
something like this.
Ninja XL.
Oh, no, look at this.
No. So I looked at that one. Yeah, so I looked at that one. That's not great. And the 2 drawers are actually too small. I didn't, that's more for like chips and things, but I'm not after that. I'm just after. So if you do there you go, Ninja Air Foodie Max, the 4th one across, one that says sale. You got it? Ninja Air Foodie. So the one that's £219.
Let's do a product review. Let's do a product review. We can monetize this thing.
Sorry.
Product reviews, man. Let's go.
I tell you why it's been so handy though. So the last 2 weeks diet wise, I've been really good. So I've kind of gone pretty hard on the carnivore, but not exclusive. So I'm having a whole bunch of meat and fruit, with the occasional few beers. That's the one.
Okay.
Is that the one?
Is that the one? Is it?
No, it's not that one either.
Yeah.
But that one looks even bigger. That looks better. So
It's
it's
not
that kind of
expensive,
thing.
actually.
So it's been so good because I can cook a steak in 8 minutes. You put it on. It's got like it's got a preheat function. It heats up for like 7-8 minutes. You can cook your steaks. You can cook your chicken. A whole bunch of burgers, mince, whatever it is. It's so convenient to cook like healthy foods. I don't have to fire up the barbecue outside. It's not as smelly as like frying pans and everything. And the reason why I just wanted to share that is because I do most of the so Amelia and I have our jobs in the house. So I do most of the cooking, and when I'm cooking for like the two boys as well, and like a family of, it's like they eat like adults. I'm cooking up like 6 steaks. Standing there and trying to cook up 6 steaks, you need 2 different pans, or whatever it is, or if you're cooking up the burgers and it smokes up there. Anyway, it has been great, and I've been able to really double down on good quality meat. So just thought I'd share that.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
What does
cool.
it taste
I've been
like?
thinking about it.
Like
Rich,
steak.
do you have
I
one?
love
Great.
I have a small one, but it's built into the microwave. It's good, but I need to upgrade. But I've not done any meat in mine at all, and mainly because I have steak probably 3 times a week, and I've always either done it on the barbecue or I do it on the pan. So what does it actually taste like in the air fryer?
Me too.
I've never even thought about doing it on the air fryer.
It's great. So it's an air fryer, but it's also got a grill function. So I do it as though it's a grill. It's like an indoor.
Okay.
It's like an indoor barbecue, like an indoor gas barbecue. But it's so you put the meat probe, the temperature probe in the meat. You say you want it medium rare. Tells you when it's medium rare. You take it out. It's just perfect. It's so good. So for breakfast, cook myself up a steak. Takes 10 minutes. I sit there, have steak and eggs for breakfast.
Steak and eggs for breakfast is a winner.
I'm a happy man. Yeah.
I might have to use your discount code and get myself one.
Yeah, that's it. Go to Ninja XL. It's great. It's really handy. Because I think when if we talk about health and fitness and nutrition, all that stuff, you want to just stack the cards in your favor to make things as simple and easy as possible. And I just think the more I do, like just the simpler and easier I can make things, the more consistent I get. So that is just such an easy way of like making good food quick and easy. And then it goes in the dishwasher. I don't have to wash it. It's just so simple. So for breakfast today, I went to the supermarket and I was like, I fancy some burgers. I got myself a pack of mince, literally 500-gram pack of mince, cut it in half, made 2 burger patties really quickly, cooked them up, ate it all for breakfast. Job done. Like 10 minutes. Don't have to mess about.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like if you can make it easy to eat well, it's so much easier to actually kind of be consistent and stick to it. And so I think that's a great little shortcut.
Talking of products that I don't think I'm going to buy this. I just like, when you get something in your head and you want to buy it, but then you just like never really pull the trigger. I think it's probably like too much. I don't know, but I'll show you what I was thinking of.
Oh, I'm so intrigued.
I don't know if you guys have ever kind of gone down this route. But like
a reverse osmosis,
a reverse osmosis like water system. Like again, I don't know how true all of this is, right? Like I drink 3 liters of water every day, and I'm just drinking tap water. And the water quality in our area, I think, is all right. Like I've got one of those things where you can basically just put it in the water and measure it, and it gives you a reading. And I think it says basically like anything between 100 and 200 is okay. Anything over 200 is like starting to get bad. And the water in our local area is like 150, so it's kind of like okay. But a reverse osmosis kind of system would bring it right down to kind of like single digits, and it just strips out all of the crap out of the tap water. Probably be nicer and cleaner to kind of drink. So this is just you can get like the systems that kind of sit underneath the sink. Which is probably
I've seen those ones.
But then you have to install like a separate tap, and it's just going to be a pain to like cut the countertop, and it basically takes space away from underneath the sink, blah blah blah. Or you can get something like this, which is like 450 quid. But it does hot water as well. So you can make, you can probably
it
do
does
away
hot
with your
water
kettle
as
as well.
well.
Yeah, yes, you could do away with your kettle. You can set the temperature, and you could do hot water. And they also sell these things where, like, if you go to their web shop, they actually sell these. I can't remember it. Maybe I'm even looking at a different one, but they sell one where you get like extra vitamins and minerals and stuff like that. I wouldn't really care about that. I just care about the actual pure
Is it
filtering
any
of the
different
water. So
to
I'm
a
tempted to
normal?
do it.
Is it saying it's better than a normal water filter then?
What, like a jug type thing, you mean?
Yeah, one of the jug ones that have just like a Brita filter. Is there any different to that?
I suspect it's probably the reverse osmosis one. Yeah, it is like higher quality. I think those Brita and the ones that jugs are supposed to be, like, people seem pretty skeptical about how good they are. Like the reverse osmosis system in this, I think, is a lot more high quality and will get the end result better. So again, I don't really know if it's like worth it or not, or how much I actually care about it. But I do know that I drink a lot of water, and if there is something to it, drinking water that tastes better and is cleaner could be enough. And also, I like the idea of it just replacing the kettle and it just being easy to make a cup of tea.
So, we actually had one quite similar, not a reverse osmosis one, and so we had it was I don't know, I think it was like a Brita water. I forget the brand, but Breville. It was a Breville hot and cold water one, but it had just a normal Brita filter in the back, and you could have the hot water and other bits and pieces as well. One thing I didn't like about it is you had to like descale it every 3 weeks. Like the amount of times I had to clean it and sort it out became a real pain in the ass. And actually, what I ended up doing was we went like the whole water discussion is so funny. It's like so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous, but it's so ridiculous. I ended up getting a fridge that just had the built-in plumbing in the back that has a jug that it automatically fills up that has the water filter in the fridge, and that keeps me. So you just take out the jug, it's filled up, it's fully cold, and that's like easy, simple. Only have to change it once every 6 months because it's a much bigger filter. It may not be reverse osmosis, but that makes my life easier.
I also just realised that wasn't the one that I was looking at. It was another one, and this one actually
we're going to go down another one.
And it's cheaper.
Rich is loving.
No,
Rich is loving the water chat.
I'm so glad I jumped onto this one, guys. Yeah,
this looks better, but you never. I don't know. Like, I think I might go for it at some point. It does look pretty cool, and I like the fact that it does hot water and cleans all your water up. And
yeah.
I must say, I have found putting the kettle on really tough. Something I've really struggled with. I've gone, fuck. And when I make a cup of tea, like boiling the kettle is such a difficult task.
Kettles, they get like lime scale. They're kind of like you're drinking a cup of tea and you get crappy lime scale in your mouth.
That machine's going to need maintenance as well.
They do need a fair bit of maintenance. I'll be honest, because I had one really similar, and it carried on fuse. It fused the house twice, and I was like, "Oh, I'm done with this machine. I'm sending it back."
Well, I'll let you know if I buy it.
Yeah, let us know how it tastes.
Yeah,
I'll be keen to know how it tastes if it's really pristine.
Yeah,
I keep giving Ella grief about. I keep giving Ella grief about just being a bit more sensible with our money and budgeting. Like, things are obviously more expensive nowadays, and then I've got this list of stuff that I just want to swing in and buy, which in the grand scheme of things are just like not really necessary. So I'm kind of not pulling the trigger on it for that reason, because I can't really say, hey, let's be tight on our budget. And hey, by the way, I'm just going to go and buy like a £350 water filter, because then you can press a button instead of pressing the button on the kettle. We'll see.
So, talking about gadgets then, so something you've both got the Whoop, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, we're back onto gadgets that kind of. All right, cool. Yeah, let's go.
It doesn't matter. Rich has perked up a little bit. Let's keep it going.
So I'm really tempted to get one, because I know Daniel, you
think about it.
love it to bits. Because I've got a Fitbit, and it's.
I'll send you my code. I literally do have a code. I'll send you a code.
Oh no, what's my code?
No.
Is the heart rate monitor super accurate?
When you say super accurate, what do you mean? Like not as accurate as a band across the chest? No.
Okay, so it's not as accurate as a band across the chest, but it's comparable, because I've got my Fitbit, which is like so off from like the band across my chest. But I just find like putting the band across my chest is just a bit of a pain in the ass. I'm just so lazy with little things. It's like, so I was thinking if I had the Whoop, I just like may not need to put the band back across my chest.
I think it depends on the accuracy you need or you're going for. I don't need that level of accuracy. Like for me personally, I don't care enough if it's like within within that range, right? Like if let's say I hit the bike and it's doing a 170 kind of 5 kind of BPM, that's fine. If it was 1770 really, I wouldn't care enough. So I haven't never measured its accuracy to a point where I care enough. Now, I think for everything I've read, and Daniel, correct me if you've read anything different here, everything I've read is pretty good as far as wearables go. Like it's the best of the wearables, but it's not as good as having a chest strap that's right on the heart.
Okay. Because I also want to just have a better resting heart rate score than Daniel. And I think I need to have the same app, the same wearable to be able to just say, mate, mine's 38.
Daniel, what is your resting heart rate at the moment? Are you still alive? Are you down at like 38?
It's like, I think it's 16.
16? 16. I thought you were officially there.
Never 16.
Where is my resting?
Yesterday, 41 the last time you sent it through. But on the Whoop, it gets it when you're sleeping.
Mine's around that too.
Yeah. 44. 44 last night.
Yeah, so it doesn't during sleep. It's not. Whoop is a bit cheeky with that. It only does it during your sleep window. But if you look at your daily resting heart rate, obviously it's going to be higher.
All right, so I might look into getting one. Okay.
I'm loving this whole like screen sharing thing, but if you look at this, for example, this was my workout yesterday. It's very, very accurate in terms of like what I did. I did like supersets here, and then I did some more supersets here, and then this was my like kind of finisher. And there was quite a big break between my last one and my finisher. So like, actually, the one thing I do find about Whoop is that if you do a workout and then you look at your heart rate, it's really easy to track what you did by when, which gives me like a reasonable amount of kind of like confidence that I don't know how like accurate it is based on exactly how much your heart beats, because I don't know how accurate all of these things are in general. But even if it's inaccurate, like it seems to track to what I'm doing, and I can really look at the Whoop thing. Oh, that I can kind of see exactly what I did there. They also say I use my so you get like the wrist one. They do say that the wrist one is a little inaccurate because it's based on the light inside of it, which you can see there. And when there's a little bit of a gap there, the light shines through, it can disrupt the heart rate and it gives weird readings. I use the bicep band. So I bought a bicep band, and the Whoop 4 is really cool. You can just literally disconnect it and connect it to another band. And they say the bicep band is more accurate.
Is it comfortable?
Yeah, super comfortable. I could do anything. I could do curls. I can do anything in the workout, and it's comfortable to wear. And they say because it's less susceptible to like the light getting in. And I found that they say that the one on your wrist, because you're moving your arms around and your wrist seems to move around a lot. Mm-hmm. I would notice that like it would actually jolt the heart rate up, even if I was just walking or something. Or if you move your wrist around a lot, it would jolt the heart rate up. But when I had the bicep band on, it doesn't do that. So the bicep band brings the heart rate down a little bit. It's not quite as high, but I suspect it's like more accurate.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I don't think I use a product like more consistently than Whoop, other than my Fitness Pal. But like I've been a Whoop user for like 3 years, and like I super rate it. It's probably one of the most useful things in my life that I use.
I'll look into it.
I mean, like I back that up. I've been using it for probably a year. I think Daniel, it was you that got me onto it. And for the first kind of maybe 3 or 4 weeks, I was like, oh, whatever, fatty. It's just going to annoy me, to a point now where it never leaves me. Like I have it on all the time. For me, though, it's not so much about its accuracy in the workouts. While I do use it to track workouts, for me, it is actually daily patterns. I really like the fact that it's kind of, for example, if I had 6 beers last night, Whoop would be telling me I'm fucked. Like it would, my HRV would be it would be like, and for me, it really helped me form better habits. Because it's kind of like this kind of real time, almost monitor of what I'm doing to my body, and then it kind of like it's played a really big role in me actually getting kind of my habits under control. So I really like it from that perspective.
I really wouldn't need anything to tell me that I'm feeling that I'm wrecked today. I could already know that.
You don't need anyone to tell you.
Don't need the.
I don't need a device to tell me I'm fucked.
Yeah, to validate how rough I'm feeling.
Well, I mean, I think you don't get any sympathy because we would have all liked to have gone out for 6 beers and a night out as well. So
it was self-inflicted. So
yeah.
Anything else, chaps? Anything interesting workout-wise, exercise-wise? Anything new, different?
I mean, I think for me, I don't know why I'm on this podcast. I've not done any exercise in like 3 or 4 weeks after kind of injury and whatever else. And so, So actually, I kind of the only thing I've really done in 3 or 4 weeks is probably eat a lot of Oreo cookies. So I've got to get back on it. So I'm asking you guys just to bully me a little bit to get me back on the straight and narrow. So
Okay,
get back on
done.
it. But,
Done.
that's about it. And the Rugby World Cup's on, which so every single game right now is a challenge, not to just sit and just eat bad stuff, which is
it's funny how we have that
discipline.
association of watching sport and drinking alcohol and eating snacks, isn't it? It's just so
I don't
bizarre.
know you, but I don't normally sit still. I'm not a sit still person. I don't watch TV.
Yeah.
Like, TV's not a thing. I don't watch movies. I'm always doing something. So for me, when I'm for a rugby game, I'm sitting still for an hour and a half, and I can't help just kind of like, have a cup of tea, and then suddenly, like, if there's, and I can't help it. Obviously, I've got kids in the house, so it's not like I can throw away all the bad stuff, whatever else. So, cup of tea, and like, there's a biscuit nearby, or there's something, and then that's it. Like once I've like gone one, then it's a problem. So that right now, discipline is my challenge. So yeah, that's my ask to you guys is just bully the hell out of me for the next kind of 3 days to ensure that I kind of get back into the rhythm.
Done.
I'll tell. Yeah, definitely do that. There's one thing actually. Well, I think this would make for a future good episode. Is I know Rich, you're getting your bloods done soon, right? They tried to you tried to get it done this week and it was unsuccessful. But
have you ever had that, by the way? Sorry, randomly. No, I went to get my bloods done on Wednesday, and like they tried 3 times and they couldn't get any blood out. I don't know if you guys ever had that.
Yes. Yes and no. So I went, and it's weird because like I have the biggest vein on my left arm that whenever the nurses see it, they're like, oh yeah, that's a big juicy one, I'm going to get it from there. But they always try to get blood out, and it never comes out. And it's like on my left arm, on right hand, and then they try on my right arm, and it works fine. So I now know that vein in my left arm, for some reason, doesn't like to be prodded. So did they try both arms?
Yeah, they tried both arms. The weird, like, and I've had my bloods done. I've given blood several times. I've had my bloods done loads. But yeah, like, just they got it into the vein on both arms, and the vein just was like, nah, you're not having any blood. Oh, okay. So I've got to go back next week and try again. I'm like, well, do you try again? Like, do I have? And so yeah, I don't know. There are days when you just have less blood. I need to.
That's weird.
Wow,
I'm gonna get mine done next week. I've used like a private blood test company before. I'm just gonna make sure that like I want to use the same company. Maybe I'll use a different one. But yeah, I thought that would be a cool episode at some point, Lewis. If you were ever up for it, I don't know if they do those services in Australia. I'm sure they are. But I did it before. We could actually we can compare our bloods and stuff. That'd be fun.
I asked you for your because you sent out like a newsletter once, I think, with all the key measures that you were looking out for, and I was like, I'll just borrow what Daniel's looked at and then see what it was. So I would definitely do it. So I think I was going to do it. So I turned 4. It's my birthday next month.
Happy birthday.
And I was going to do it. Sorry?
Happy birthday.
Oh, thanks. Slightly early. I was going to do it before my birthday. And I was actually just going to do a whole bunch of stuff. I was going to go do a DEXA. I was going to go take some bloods.
DEXA would be a cool thing to do as well and compare.
Just so I can then do it next year. And it's like going to be before my birthday every year. I just want to track and see how I'm going because I haven't had a proper DEXA in ages.
That's good. But I don't want to compare my DEXA with Lewis's DEXA. Just to be really clear.
It's going to be bad for both of us.
It's just made me feel terrible. I better start. I better go onto that 60% deficit now.
I do need to book it in. Yeah. So what are we? September. Yeah, I need to get one booked in next couple of weeks. But I will definitely do that. Let's do that.
Let's do that. I'm going to get my bloods done this month. I'm going to book it this week, and then it takes like a week or so for it to figure itself out. And then I'm going to get a DEXA. My birthday is also in November, so I'm going to get a DEXA scan before that as well. And actually, around your birthday, that's a pretty nice like kind of note to kind of get it done and just see where you're at. So DEXA scan and bloods. That would be pretty cool podcast to kind of compare our results.
Let's do that. Yeah,
man.
See what we're looking at.
I'm not doing a DEXA scan, but blood's definitely.
Hopefully they can get some blood from you now. That's so weird.
Yeah, it's a weird one because actually I said to Daniel, like, and we said for episode, I really want to actually figure out what's going on with my testosterone levels. Just again, 40. I really want to understand what that looks like, and so I want to get those results, but. I'll go back next week, so hopefully get them end of next week. If they can
I will definitely do that.
Cool. Nice
Gentlemen,
one.
lovely
All
to see you.
right. Chat.
Likewise.
Enjoy the
Speak
rest
to
of your
you.
Friday evening. You're probably going out, are you? Clubbing?
No, I'm going to bed.
Your beers?
That's not like I'm going to bed. I'm
Right.
knackered. And so we got the so there's a few bits going on this weekend. So I'm going to go and get a decent night's sleep, be up early tomorrow,
Nice.
destroy myself, and get up for it.
Enjoy the weekend.
Have a good workout.
Cheers, guys. Catch you later.